Hello everyone, it's Robin here and welcome. I'm so happy to see you all today. So today we're going to take my reading journal here and we're not exactly going to dive into it, but I am going to share with you how I create these cute little book covers that I use in here using Canva. Check out these book covers. Oh my gosh, I love them so much. I really look forward to working in my reading journal each month, mostly because of the book covers. They add such a great pop to the reading journal and I love seeing all the little books going on in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into Canva, which is a free program. You can also do a paid version, but the free will do just what we're going to do today. And I'm going to share with you how I create the different sizes for the books, how I also go about finding the book covers that I'll use, and how I also create a bit of a template for myself. So I'm excited to get this started. So let's pop over to the computer and get going. Here we are at my computer here. Look at my lovely little hill. I love looking at that. So what I want to start with is showing you how I go ahead and get my book covers. So I'm going to open a window here and I'm going to type in Amazon because I'm finding that to be one of the easiest places to get a book cover. And I'm just going to type in the name of a book that I'm interested in, and it's When in Rome. It's by Sarah Adams and it's got it right here. So let's type this in. So when you get to Amazon, you can get right to your book. And I'm going to click into it. I purchased this Kindle edition quite some time ago, and I have not read this yet. But we're going to go ahead and look at this book here. So what I want to do is make sure I have a large enough book so that I get the detail even when I'm printing them. So this one, if you go on, you can see it gets like that. But if you click into it, you'll get a better picture and it looks pretty large. So I'm going to take this, and on my Mac, I can just drag the cover off. See that? I'm dragging that to my desktop. You may have another way that you can drag this off, or you can screen or capture it. However you do that, this is how I can do that. So I think anybody really can grab it. What I also want to do though, since I'm here, this is a series. It's book 1 of 3, When in Rome. I'm going to click that series because what I also want to do is grab this second book cover, Practice Makes Perfect, because Beg, Borrow, Steal just came out and I want to read that, but I got to get these through first. So I'm going to grab this cover too. So I'm clicking into it. Again, I'm going to click the book cover so that I get a large enough copy, and I'm going to drag that all the way off just like so. Okay, so now we have those book covers here. You can also go to Goodreads. I'm going to put Goodreads at the top here. It'll sign me right into my account. And yes, I'm finishing up Iron Flame. This is taking me a while to read, but I love it. But I'm going to go into search books and I'm going to put in When in Rome. And they all start popping up right here, When in Rome. And I'm going to click into it. Goodreads does take a little more time to respond. There we have it. Okay, so we have the book cover here. Now, I can drag this off of here. Usually, let's see how that worked out. I did get a copy over here. But we'll show you, I think the sizes will be a little different, but we'll check that out. I also want to grab this Practice Makes Perfect and test that out. Okay, here we go. So you can see it's a smaller size just visually, but we'll grab it to the side and just drag it right off over here. Okay, so I have these. You can also do a Google search for the covers. There's a lot of different ways to get these covers, but I have my covers here and I'm going to highlight them. I just want to see how big they are. So I'm going to double click them. It's going to pull them up into a very large, there we go. Well, you can kind of see this one's big. This is my preview. So I'm going to go down below. So these first two are the ones I got off of Amazon. And then the second two, okay, they're all very large and they're good quality. So I have some great images to use. Next, we're going to work on going into Canva. So I'm going to type in Canva in my bar up here, and here we are in Canva. Now this automatically opens into my account, so I don't need to sign in. Canva has a free option and there's a paid version. I have the paid version, and really the paid version just gives you a few extra things, like you can get access to a lot of their graphics. You probably can download more than you could with the free version, but I think this version will still allow you to create what I'm creating. So what we want to do is go over here to the left where it says create a design. So I'm going to hit create a design. And what I want to do is create a custom design. So I'm all the way down here on the left here, create a custom design, and I want to create a sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11. So I want to come over here to where it says units and change it from pixels to inches. And my width, I want to put in 8.5, and my height, I want 11 for a regular sheet of paper. I'm going to hit create new design, and there we have our screen going on right here. So Canva has a lot of fun items to use. You can see on the left here, there's elements, and this is where, see these little crowns, those are like pro versions, and there's extra pay for some of these things, but we're not using that. You can go into text. There's some branding. I think it's for the paid version, so I get to use some of these. And then this uploads area, which is where we're going to go. Okay, so I have a lot of book covers in here already because I've already created some, but we need to upload these files that we put on here, and I want to take these two here and throw them off my screen in my trash. So I'm doing that off here. Let me hit that so I get my window back so that I don't get confused. So I'm going to show you how to put files in here. Now, you could just drag them in, but I'm going to hit the upload and we're going to go that route. So we're going to upload files, and it shows my desktop, and I'm going to pick this file, and I'm going to pick this file, and I'm going to upload these two. I'm also going to upload one more, which I'll show you in a moment here. There we go. We're going to hit upload files again. There we go. And we're going to go into books for 2025, and I'm going to hit these Harry Potter books I have here. So I have this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. These are all the Harry Potter illustrated version books. So I'm going to make sure I have these in here. Okay, let's move on to our file. I'm going to use this Practice Makes Perfect book as our initial book. So I'm just going to click it, and it pops right into this page right here. And what I want to do first, and this is what I did with my reading journal, is I created a few different sizes because I wasn't sure what size I wanted. So I'm just dragging it from the corner, and I'm looking at where it says, right now it says W 1.9, H 2.9. That's my width and my height. I'm dragging it to where I make my height 1.5. There we go. So 1.5 by 1 inch. So there's my first book. Next, I'm going to duplicate that by hitting this area here, and see it made a duplicate. And I'm going to make this one a little bit smaller because I'm not sure, when I first started my book, I wanted something maybe around 1.25 in the height. So 1.3 would be the next one. So I'm rounding up a little bit, but then I wasn't sure, maybe 1.2 would be better. So I duplicated it again, and I went to 1.2. And then I knew, since I'm making these size restraints, let's copy it again. And let's do one at 1 inch, because again, I didn't know what sizes in the beginning I wanted. So you see my height is 1 inch, the width is 0.7. And then I also, in my reading journal, I knew I needed some very tiny, I know these look really small, I needed some very tiny ones. So I created even one more, and I made it, I wanted it like a 3/4 of an inch, so 0.75, but we round up to 0.8. And these are the ones I ended up using in my new releases section. So I have all of these books right here starting at 1.5. And I thought, maybe I need 1.75. So let me duplicate one more. I'm going to put it off to the side here, and I'm going to fix all this in a second. And you can see when you move them to the side, you can see the numbers in between. It shows you even spacing, which doesn't really matter for us so much. But this one I'm going to make bigger. But if you're designing graphics, so 1.75, I want to go 1.8 because I'm rounding up. Okay, so now there we go. Those are all even. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all these together, and I'm just going to kind of move them into the middle, just like so. Just like so. Just so they're, you know, kind of there. Then I thought, I wonder if I would need any larger ones. So let's duplicate this bigger one again, right? So I'm just making kind of sizes. I'm trying to decide right now what sizes I want. And let's do some in like the 2.5 inch range, right? Let's go 2.5 inches, which is a pretty big book. So we have that one right there. Let's duplicate that one. And whoops, we duplicate it, went right off the edge there. We duplicate that one, and let's go down to, you know, like 2.25. Well, 2.2. That looks about right. And then let's do one at 2 inches while we're at it. Then we have a good judge of books. Let's move all this just down a little bit. Then we have a good sense of sizes of the same book to see what we want to use. And what I do here, this was the first thing I did, is I just took this sheet and I downloaded this and printed it so that I could test all the sizes in my journal and decide which one I wanted to do. So let me show you how I downloaded this. I went right up to this share button here, and then I went to download, and I just downloaded this one sheet. And I just left all this alone. It's downloading as a PNG, and I'm downloading it right to my computer, just like so. And there we go. It pops right up right here. And now I went ahead and I printed this on my printer, and then I could test all the different sizes. So I'm going to go ahead and close that for right now. And we're going to close this for right now. Go back to home. So I have this, my untitled design here, and I want to go ahead and change this to, I already have book covers 8.5 by 11. So let's just make this book covers. There we go. And that's how you can name them. And here we go. We just opened it right back up again. So what I want to do here, I have my template here. I'm going to add a page right at the bottom here. I could still use the same template, but let's keep a clean page. So I'm going to add a page at the bottom, and it's all blank. And I decided that the book covers I like are 1.5 inch. So which one was this? Was this the 1 3? Yeah, it's 1 7. This is the 1.5. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to drag. Whoops! I'm going to make a copy. Let's make a copy. There we go. And then we can keep all those intact. I'm going to drag this down here into this page. So you can see that goes right down in here. 1.5. That I use for my monthly and my bookshelf. And I also liked the 1.2. So I think this one was the 1.2 size right here. So let's see, 1.2. Yeah. We're going to make a copy, and then we're going to drag it down into this next page, just like so. And this is where we're going to kind of start making our template for what we need. So for this book, the 1.5 inch, I'm going to duplicate it a few times right here. And you can see how it lets you put them in nicely, just like so. There you go. Kind of lines things up a little bit with the numbers, makes it easier. I'm going to do 4 books across, and then I'm going to highlight all that, duplicate it, and do a second set, because I use this size 2 times in my reading journal. I use it for my bookshelf, and then I use it for my monthly. I also want to do my bingo, and my bingo uses a smaller size, which is 1.2. So I'm going to duplicate that 4 times as well. And I'm going to put that here, and I'm going to line this right here. And you know, they're kind of all lined up sort of even, just like so. So there I have my template here. Oh, you want me to do the little one too? Let me pull that one in. That one was a fun one. These were my releases, my new releases. And well, these aren't really new releases, but I'll put this little one here so you can see. We'll just add that. Okay, no big deal. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to put in the book covers. So I'm going to go over to the left here where it says uploads. And here's where all my book covers are. So I'm going to add some book covers that I know I'm going to need. So for one thing, I know Iron Flame is a book that I'm finishing reading. I will need that in my reading journal coming up. So I'm going to take this and move it into one of these book covers. Now, instead of just clicking it, because if I did that, it becomes big and then I would have to size it, which is okay, right? But if you do that, sometimes the book covers aren't exactly consistent in the size restraints. Some of them aren't exactly the same. And what I'm looking for is some consistency in my reading journal. So I'm going to take it by where these dots are and I'm going to drag it into one of these book covers, just like so. So we have Iron Flame in the second one. I have Practice Makes Perfect in the first one. I actually want to change that because before I can read this book, I need to read When in Rome. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to drag it right there, just like so. Now, another thing I have is I have all these Harry Potter books and I've only read the first one. I haven't read all of them, but I want to read them all this year. And I have them in these illustrated versions. Let's use this one as an example, The Chamber of Secrets. I'm going to pull this over into this book and you can see it's cutting off the words. So that is something that you would want to consider when you're doing your reading journal. In the past, I'm going to click on it. I've always let the size constraint be the size constraint. Like if it's a wider book, I let that happen. So I would move this down to where the height reads 1.5 inches. And the width is 1.2 inches. So the height would be the same as these books, but the width is different. But this year I'm keeping them a little more consistent, but I also want this option available to me because I may want to just have the whole book cover somewhere. So that's how you go ahead and you do that. So I have When in Rome, Iron Flame, Chamber of Secrets, and Practice Makes Perfect. And then I have this Chamber of Secrets. So what you do for this next row, and I didn't really need to copy this, so I'm going to take this and delete this. I'm going to put it in the trash. I can just take this row like so, since I have the book covers, and I hit duplicate, and then I can just move it down, and then I have my double set of books. Now I'm going to go and do the same with these smaller books here. So we have When in Rome. I'm just going to drag it into there. I'm going to take Iron Flame, and I'm going to drag it into this next one. And then I'm going to take this Harry Potter book and I'm going to drag it into this next one. So these are all my book bingo ones. And then I'm going to leave Practice Makes Perfect. And then I'll show you how you drag it in there. I'll just drag in When in Rome there. You just drag it right in there and you get this little tiny book cover. So this is how I go ahead and make these book covers. There is one other way, which I'll show you before we move on. If you go over into this left-hand side, you go into Elements, you can go down into, here it is, Frames. And I'm going to click this frame right here. These, you can create whatever size you want. So let me see my size constraints for this top one, and I have to kind of tug on it a minute to see it. It's 1 by 1.5. So I'm going to make this 1 inch wide. And you just got to keep dragging it, right? I know it looks really funny right now, right? I could have, okay, well, we'll get there. By 1.5, okay. Let's see, let's try to get into this 1 inch zone. Let me get my height right, 1.5, and then my width I want 1. It's trying to click onto these other books, so there we go. There's 1.1, 1 by 1.5. So you can create a template of specific sizes just like so, all across, and then you don't have to worry about having the book covers in. You can just have these in there, and then you can go into your uploads here. You can just drag the book right into that. That way, if you don't like having all the book covers like so, you can do it this way. You can drag any book in here. We can drag my Nightingale book in there. We can drag the new Abby Jimenez book in there. So you can just drag all the books in there. So if you have a specific size in mind, you can choose to do it that way too. So I'm going to go ahead and take that out so that you can see that part. And what I want to do is now I'm going to share this. So we're going to hit share again, and then we're going to go download. And this time we're going to click in where it says all pages, because remember we added that page. So there's multiple pages here now. And I just want to print page 2. So I'm going to uncheck page 1. We're just printing page 2. And then I'm going to hit done. And then I'm going to hit download. And it is rolling. There we go. And there is our page, our 8.5 by 11 with all these cool book covers. And now we can go ahead and send this to the printer. So here is our final product, and I really love how all of these look on here. It even printed my little landscapes going on. So I use a sticker paper to print my book covers on because I find it really easy to place in the journal, and I have a lot of sticker paper here, so that's what I use. But you can use regular paper. You can also use cardstock. You can even use photo paper if you really want. These are just ready to be cut out and placed in here. You can see I have my other little book covers here, and these I just printed on regular paper, and this is what I use to kind of decide sizes. So you can see right here, this size is the one I went ahead with, and this is the 1.5 inch size. So I wrote them all on the backs of here. This is a 2 inch, which I could use too. That's kind of on the larger size. I also used the 1.5 inch book covers. I decided that size worked really well for my bookshelf. So these are all about 1.5 inch tall. So that's the size that I'll use for here. And I wanted a smaller one for my book bingo because I wanted it to fit in these squares, and I put all of them on here, and I thought that this size worked out the best, and this is the 1.2, so it's almost about a 1.25 inch size. The other book cover I use in here is for the releases, which is right here, and these are these really tiny covers, and that is this little one here, which is 0.8, so it's about 3/4 of an inch. But 0.8 because I round up, and that's what I use in here. I can go ahead and save all these because I wrote the sizes on the back. So when I want to make another spread in here, if I want to use other book covers, I can. And I just love how this all turned out. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them. And if you have any other tips or ideas or how you do book covers, go ahead and add that in there down there too. That way, anybody who is looking at this video for ideas, they might get some tips from you as well. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you have a magical day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! Happy reading!